Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about what we call the AZEO method. And this is the secret to what we call the perfect utilization. So let's discover the AZEO revolution together. These are what the elite credit card utilizers or people who keep a low utilization swear by this method. So what does AZEO stand for? AZEO stands for all zero except one. And this is a strategic utilization method where you keep all balances to zero except that one card that has a utilization between the standard golden rule of 1 to 9%. This method essentially exploits the FICO's algorithm to keep it very tactical. The system rewards ultra low utilization, but essentially unfortunately penalizes those with zero balances across all other credit cards. So when implementing the AZEO method, your credit scores can technically jump between 20 to 50 points if it's done the right way. And all of this within 1 to 2 billing cycles. So let's talk about the zero balance paradox. Here's why having $0 everywhere will actually hurt you. So essentially when you have zero balances across all your credit cards, FICO will interpret that as a person with no credit usage. And this will turn your status into what we call inactive. And since you're not using the credit system, there is a possibility that your scores may also be suppressed, unfortunately. However, reporting one balance, even if it's on one particular card, that's anywhere between 1 to 9%, signals to the FICO system that you're an active user. And think of it like you're using a very tiny fraction of the utilization available to you. So what's the critical difference between AZEO method and low utilization like we talked about before? So we hear the traditional advice where people tell us use only 30% of your utilization. Now we talked about this. We said use anywhere between 1 to 9% max, 7% ideally. So in order to have maximum efficiency, AZEO, the method, all zero except one, is simply using one card if you have, let's say, 5 or 10 cards, but keeping a very small balance on that, typically within the 1 to 9% range like we discussed. So here's the science behind AZEO and how it actually works with the FICO system. You see, FICO weighs the overall utilization you have and how much accounts you're keeping active, specifically the per card utilization that a lot of people use. AZEO optimizes both of these metrics to give you the best maximum score boost. Keeping a card at 0% utilization is probably not the most ideal thing you want to do. So the sweet spot here is to use one card, but keep it at the lowest utilization possible. Once again, anywhere between 1 to 9%. So let me give you a couple steps to get started with the AZEO method so you can optimize your FICO score. So here's step number 1. Audit your credit cards. Look at the portfolio you have and start analyzing. I'm talking about every single credit card you have. Unsecured, secured, store cards, specialty cards, whatever it may be. Look at the portfolio that you have. What you want to do then is basically note down every single one of them balances, how much you're carrying on them, how much utilization you have available, when was the last time you used them, and so on and so forth. You also want to make sure that some of these cards, if not all, are reporting to all of the 3 major credit reporting agencies, namely Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And ideally, you want to use 2 of those cards to optimize the AZEO method. So let's say if you have only 1 credit card in all of your credit profile, unfortunately AZEO wouldn't work. Ideally, you want to have at least 3 to 5 cards, and you want to use at least 1. And of course, that 1 card that you have, you want to keep the utilization below 10%. Once again, anywhere between 1 to 9%. Step number 2 is what we call the strategic zero-out process. We obviously discussed about the statement dates and the due dates. So in this situation, you want to zero out all your balances except that 1 card. So let's say if you have 3 different credit cards or 5 different credit cards and you're carrying balances, prior to the statement closing date, you want to pay all those down to 0 except that 1 account. And once again, just a fresh, quick, friendly reminder is make sure 2 to 3 days prior to your statement closing date is when the payments are being made, not on the due date. Essentially, you're not avoiding spending. You're essentially controlling what balances get reported to the 3 credit reporting agencies, namely to enhance and influence the FICO. So let's talk about the selection criteria, which is step number 3. Which card do we choose for this AZEO method to have the maximum efficiency and the maximum impact? Your 1 card should meet at least all of these criteria. It needs to reliably report to all of the 3 major credit reporting agencies. Technically, you might want to have that as the highest limit card you have available. You have a statement date that you can easily track, as we discussed in previous videos. And if you haven't really looked into that, I will link a video to help you more understand that deeper in the description below. Some of the popular choices when it comes to these type of cards are Chase, Discover, Capital One, and also the fact that they're also known for consistent reporting on a regular basis. Step number 4 is to calculate the perfect AZEO balance. So anywhere between 1 to 9%. So let's say you target that and you have, let's say, $40,000 across 4 different cards. Namely, let's say all of those accounts are $10,000 each. Now what you want to do is you want to carry at least a 10% balance on 1 card. So that means $10,000. You want to carry 10% balance, which would technically be a maximum of $1,000. See, the 1 card is the formula that we're going to use and to leverage that for our AZEO method to kick in and have the highest level of efficiency. Step number 5 is to really master the dance of when the statement date is reporting. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, this is where they might technically fail because the statement date is where AZEO lives. It's where your magic happens when it comes to influencing the FICO as much as possible. And if you're not sure, I would recommend you contact your card company to ensure that you have all the statement date, the information that you need to have the maximum efficiency so that you can look into that and essentially figure figure it out to play the strategy effectively. Step number 6, the monthly AZEO cycle. Let's explain that a little bit further. So let's say you have 20 days. You spend money on a couple of accounts. Then let's say 21st day is your statement date. So 2 to 3 days before that, you want to pay down all of those balances except that one card, which is going to be used primarily once again for the AZEO method. And then you continue the recycling process every single month. You just have to know how to tactically leverage the statement dates. That's your magic key. It's the power to AZEO method. It's the fuel behind it. Unfortunately, the multi-card utilization technique might actually hurt you. And that's why AZEO works really well when you're leveraging a single card instead of multiple cards at the same time. So here's a common mistake that a lot of people make, unfortunately. A lot of people let multiple cards report small balances all at the same time. The standard rule of keeping it under 30%, following all the trends out there. But the reality is, if you really want to, like a professional, optimize and really hack the game of FICO, you want to keep one account that has a small balance, at least reporting that small balance by the statement date at the end of each month. This will enhance the FICO's algorithm and it'll give you the optimal boost to your scores, especially when you need it most when it comes to underwriting. This is one of the most powerful strategies that I recommend to my customers as well. Another common mistake is obviously reporting zero balances on all cards, not even a single card. The problem with that, as we discussed prior to, is that a lot of people specifically think that having zero balances is a very healthy habit when it comes to credit. Unfortunately, the FICO system, specifically when they're looking and analyzing the trended data, how much utilization you're using, how to impact your score to give you the best possible outcome, having zero balances indicates that you're an unfortunate inactive user. This can hurt you. You want to remain active, and hence the AZEO method is probably the best bet when it comes to not only keeping active, but having the best score boosts possible. So here's what's going to happen. The first time on the first billing cycle, you might not necessarily have significant influence or impact. But the second or third billing cycle, there are some changes that's going to happen. You're going to see some score boosts. Your scores might dance like a roller coaster, might go up, might go down. But if you follow this method, and if you do it in a very strategic way, you will see significant impact on your FICO score over the long haul. And that's why the AZEO method is the golden rule for professional people who are leveraging their credit to make great moves when it comes to investing, leveraging their credit for financial enhancement, whatever it may be. This is the key. So make sure that you have, number one, the capability to ensure that you can leverage this technique, the AZEO method, that you have the financial feasibility to pay down your balances by the statement closing date, and that you know exactly what you're going to leverage your credit for. So with all that said, I hope this AZEO method gave you some insights on some of the ways that you can really enhance your credit score, some of the best methods out there. We'll continue discussing some of these on a regular basis, but this is one of the most powerful ones that I've personally used and helped my customers use as well. And all that said, I hope you guys join our free community. If you haven't yet, check the link in the description. This is where we do Q&A calls every Tuesday to give you guys insights, answer some of the questions related to credit, or even help you get to the next level. And with all that said, I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.